What's going on, guys? Today we have something extremely exciting as we have our first Captain America VOD review submitted by a viewer, Mr. Y2K, over on Discord. He sent this to me, and here's what he had to say about this replay. Alright, he tells me that this was one of his first games in GM3, and that he was Plat 2 in Season 0 and Diamond 2 in Season 1. He's very new to team games / shooters, and that he originally comes from fighting games and combat sports, so he's used to 1v1 game modes. He's been having a fun time learning, grinding, and applying team shooter fundamentals, but his mechanics aren't the greatest on keyboard and mouse, but he thinks he's getting better at it. Now, he says this was a close loss, but it was probably a winnable game. He says he got flamed super hard first play, and that he had a rough start to round 1, but he felt like his round 2 performance was good. He feels like he can struggle sometimes when he's tracking enemies that are trying to get away, and with shield cancels, and he says that he misses his dives a little too often. He thinks he should have focused more on destroying the BRB machines in hindsight as well. Now, when I asked him what rank he thinks he belongs in, or where he thinks he's meant to be, I also asked him what he thinks is holding him back the most in his games. And here's what he had to say. Grandmaster 3 is a top 9% of the player base, and I think I'm at the appropriate rank. I couldn't get to Diamond 1 in Season 1.0 back when Diamond 2 was the top 3% of the player base, but he thinks that with practice and minor adjustments to his play, he can make it GM 1 or Celestial 3 before the end of the season. His mechanical skill is partially holding him back. He thinks he has a tendency to tense up during important moments and flub execution-wise, and he thinks he could do better at recognizing tempo and the push and pull of the match, and he doesn't feel like he dives at the correct times and that he doesn't get value from his dives, and he needs to get better at when he has moments where he can make big plays to shift the tide of the game. So we're gonna go ahead and check out this VOD, and we're gonna see what he could be improving on. Alright, today we are spectating Y2K, a Captain America main. Just like I said, we got our first Captain America VOD review, which, if you can't tell, I'm extremely excited for. And we're just gonna hop straight into this. It looks like he ends 23 and 11 with 9,000 damage and 31k damage block. Not bad. Those are some pretty good stats, especially for a lost game. I would say that's pretty good. Now, obviously, if you look at his enemy tanks, they have much higher stats, but that's because they won. So we're gonna go ahead and get straight into this.
In 30 seconds.
Now, right now I'm most interested in seeing where you set up, and if it looks like you're setting up here, this isn't personally where I would start as Cap. Where I like to start is, let's see, I like to start all the way over here, right? I like this area because you can start right here where they can't see you, and if they come out this spot, you can throw a little shield, get a bunch of ult charge. Looks like they got a Black Panther chilling up here. Now, obviously, you're not really going to be able to fight a Black Panther, but he's not going to be able to kill you either if you just stick around for a second. Chill here, wait a sec. Once they get to about here, come play on the cart. I would start right here, play around the corners, just swinging, holding space, holding the cart as long as I can, and then either leave to try and get up here, which kind of hard to get up from down there. You would hop on the cart and then jump up onto here, or just work back to around this corner when it's time for you to leave. But I would try and play on this track as long as I possibly can. All right, let's go right back to the Captain America. Let's see. So, looks like everybody's walked out, everybody's starting. Your Thor is holding here on his own. Already, I see that you're looking at a Black Panther. Now, of course, you can peel for your teammates. You can look out for your teammates if somebody's going on the backline, but you're not going to do much to help kill a Black Panther most of the time. And if somehow you do help kill him or you get any damage on him, the way I look at it is, yes, it's good damage, but if you were able to kill him or you were able to help kill him, your team was likely going to kill him anyways. Okay, prioritizing the Luna here. This is a good choice. Didn't get any help. Nice. That was a great kill. Playing that well. Using the shield bash to get out. All right. Unlucky shield toss. Didn't get the ricochet. I wouldn't be too worried about the Spider-Man. Low priority target, but I can see that you were just scaring him out. Now here, Magneto's popped his bubble, so I would just leave him alone. Doctor Strange, good pressure on the Strange. Nice, good kill. Okay. I would stay right there. Let's pause this real quick. I would stay, now obviously we have a Black Panther here, but I would chill just like right about here, just holding the space while holding my cooldowns to leave if I have to. Just holding the space as long as you can, especially when you have a Thor that can also maintain it and help take and create space. Your job is to create it while your Thor like takes and holds it, but you can also hold it extremely well. So again, retreating here, not what I would have done, but you are just trying to play the corner, and that's totally understandable. All right, you're giving up a lot of space here by playing so far back. You can see that your Thor is down here, right, fighting the Black Panther, which he shouldn't be doing, but he's also fighting the Magneto, who's about to follow up. Psylocke over here and Sue over here. You can't see all that, of course, but your Thor you can definitely see, right? So you know he's there, you know he's fighting alone. So try not to give up so much space by either following him or just playing passive. You should be looking for a dive here. Nice. Really good kill. Really good kill. Alright, you backed out. Nice. Good, you know when to leave. Caught without your cooldowns here. If you die, I'm guessing that's why. Alright, let's watch how we could have played that differently. Okay. See? Oh my. Alright, so you go in and you get a kill here, right? Good kill. Let's see, you use your slam and you get the kill. You're frozen. And you use your shield bash to get out. Now you try and stay here, which I know it made sense in the moment, but you don't have any movement cooldowns, right? So you don't want to stay. You should have tried to run here. You should have tried to give up some space since you burned both your movement cooldowns extremely fast. I don't think you needed to use your shield bash before, but you used it a little bit early. You could have just ran out. You would have been fine. They didn't have any CC for you. But because you used it, you're caught without it here. And because of that, and because your Loki couldn't hit a shot on you, I don't know if he's dead or if it's just his clones, but you die for it. So I would have played that differently just by either jumping before I used my shield bash because you did get caught on the cart, or saving my shield bash for that moment when they finally all converged on you. So let's see how you play it going forward.
There's still a chance to stop them.
Leave them to conscience.
One thing I'm not going to be too hypocritical or critical on is your shield cancels, like your dash cancels. I have a video on it. It looks like you got them down pretty well. If you need a refresher, I do have a video up on it on my page, so always something to consider. Just rewatching that video if you need a quick good use of the team up. I noticed you haven't been using it all that much. Playing in the cloak and dagger ult is where you want to be. I mean, your cloak is basically guaranteed dead there. That's unlucky. What I would do here is instead of engaging, since let's see who's you got in your backline. You got Thor, you got Hawkeye, who's probably gonna die, and your cloak and dagger just went down. I would just be playing around this corner, trying to hold the space as long as I can. Now you have a potential kill here, so let's see how it pans out. Of course, you know, he's got 2 healers behind him. Good ult, keeping your teammates alive. Unfortunately, your Loki did stack with it, so that's alright, it happens. Most of the time my ults end up getting stacked with supports, but I'll just take the extra. Now, I wouldn't be too worried about that Black Panther up there. You're giving up... Let's see. So let's see when you go to that Black Panther. Let's see what you leave behind. Alright. You leave your Thor and your Luna to fight 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, right? They got a 6th up there. Oh, and your Loki. I said Luna, but it's the Loki. So anyways, you leave them behind to peel for your Psylocke, who either wins or loses that, or just leaves. She has the tools to be able to leave. And I'm sorry, is that Psylocke? No, that's a Hela. I apologize. She still has the tools to leave, and if anything, has the tools to win this fight almost 100% of the time if the Black Panther doesn't misplay, right? So I wouldn't be too worried about your Hela. That's not your job to peel for that Black Panther. So giving up this space in order to pursue that was kind of a misplay by you. Let's see where you go after. Okay. Good shield bash out, but I think you do die for that. So the misplay here was you held your shield, right? I would have just ran behind the cart. You obviously you want to stay in the ult, that's your mindset. But let's see who's in it. It's just right now it's just you and Thor, so y'all are gonna tank a lot of damage. Thor or you can likely survive it just normally. I could be wrong about that, and it looks like your Loki is also in here. I didn't see him. But so while you're in here, you don't really want to hold your shield up. I would just kite back behind this, because what happens is you let your shield break and you start standing still. Bad idea, because those shots are going to hit you as soon as that shield goes down, and you're going to be taking extra damage that you wouldn't have taken had you just moved to the right a little bit. So let's see. Shield goes down, you stand still and just start taking the damage. You shield bash into a wall, and then you don't use your slam to leave. You could have got that health kit with your slam. Unfortunately, you just misplayed. And your Thor ults, 1v6, probably not the best idea. He goes down for it, I'm sure. Looks like it. Alright, y'all give up the point. That's fine. Let's see where you're at. Okay. Now, starting this point, we're gonna see where you start, but let's just say in a perfect world, the fight ended over here. Where I would like to hold is... Man, I wish I could move faster. I would like to start up here, or potentially over here, or maybe even right here. I guess up here isn't the worst spot, but just for keeping space, right there is pretty good. I like this area, I like this area, I like this area. And then of course, you know, right here is never bad either. So let's see where you set up. Alright, very passive gameplay here. Looks like the Black Panther's diving you, but just kind of pacing back and forth, not really making any plays. You set the tempo of the fight as the off tank. You create the space for your team to take advantage of and make plays on. So you just kind of being passive, not engaging or choosing targets. You should have a target in mind before you dive every single time. Now, granted, if you see someone out of position, go on that person, but you should have one person that you like prioritize above everything else. For their team, let's look at it. All right, Doctor Strange, you're not going to kill him. You can farm ult off of him, but you're not going to kill him. Same goes for Magneto. Black Panther and Psylocke, if you catch them out of position, maybe you can get a kill. If you catch them when they're low HP, maybe you can get a kill. That's kind of up for the rest of your team. Rocket, you're not going to be able to catch a Rocket. Most you can do is force him out of position. Maybe you catch him when he's 1 HP. Now, the only character on this enemy team that you're going to be able to pressure, like, consistently is the Luna Snow. If you can constantly force out her freeze cooldown and get away alive, living its value, right? That's the character you should be going on, because then she's not freezing anyone else. You're drawing the attention of her, and likely her Rocket, and likely her Strange or Magneto, because they're going to turn around to help their support. If you can get in, bother them, and then leave alive after baiting out a couple cooldowns, then your team gets to fight a 5v3 for a second while you create the space, right? And they have an advantage to push forward. You need to be setting that tempo for your team, rather than just running around back and forth up here. Okay, you shouldn't have fought this at all. Let me show you what I would have done in this situation. Okay, Black Panther's here. All right, not a big threat. He's not going to burst you down. You're not going to die immediately, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. Let him burn his cooldowns on you, and then leave, or make him leave, right? That's what you want to do ideally. Just let him burn his cooldowns on you. But as soon as you see this Doctor Strange show up, is when you should have left. Doctor Strange has a magic shotgun, and he's going to burst you down like that. So what I would have done here is, as soon as I hit half HP, I would have started running, and I would have slammed right here onto this medkit. You can definitely get here from there. And then I would have started running again, jumped and shield bashed over here. And I would have ran. Look, you could have even come to help your Squirrel Girl and your Loki, who are caught out of position by the Psylocke. Would have been a good spot to leave. Maybe the Black Panther follows you, and then you have an advantage, because now it's a 2v1 or a 2v2. And your Thor's coming up as well, it looks like. So leaving this situation would have been ideal. Your team's not here. You got a clone there, and that's about it, right? So, of course, you shouldn't have engaged. I take back what I said. I didn't realize your team wasn't here yet. You can take some space, and you can engage for a second if you're ready to leave right away. You got to know where your health kits are. You have one right there. You have one over there, and you have one right here. So, again, just in this fight, I would have left, or I would have engaged earlier instead of sitting in a spot where they can get onto me. But, yeah, have escape plans ready whenever you get dove on like that. You want to jump up, slam here, jump up, shield bash out. Burn both your cooldowns if you got it, to get away from people who are going to burst you down instantly. Watch that. And you wait too long to leave, and you die for it. I mean, look at you. Look at you there on the ground. Now, your team is struggling to fight the Psylocke and the Black Panther, it seems like. Looks like y'all actually take out the Black Panther. See what you're up to. Okay. Doesn't seem like you're really using your cooldowns to get out of spawn. They are longer cooldowns, so I get it, but getting back to the fight sooner there, maybe you could have saved your... You could have maybe... Okay, you want a melee there, but as I was saying, you could have... Alright. So. Let's just take a look at this. You leave spawn. Captain America's mobility is fantastic, right? You leave spawn, and you don't use a single movement ability. You just use your sprint. Not the worst thing in the world, but in a tense fight where your team is out there fighting for their lives, you want to get back there as soon as you possibly can. Use your shield bash, use your slam, and then you could have been up here to maybe take some slack off of your Thor. Maybe you could have frontlined for him while he got healed. Maybe you could have fought whoever was fighting him. Who knows, right? Now, this Doctor Strange ults, good block. He doesn't seem focused on any of your team. He's going to focus on his shield because he's low HP. Now, what you could have done here is you have your shield charges up. You have your charge shield. So what you want to do instead is start using your melee button. It goes through shield, and you could have very well killed this Doctor Strange. Let's see who he has supporting him. Just a Luna Snow, but she's actually reloading right now, it looks like. So had you been ready to just melee him here, 2 melees, he would have been dead. But unfortunately, you continued throwing your shield, and it's just ricocheting off of his shield. It's not going to go through. It is a projectile, not a melee attack, once it's charged up by either the team-up ability or the charged shots that you get after meleeing twice. So instead, you want to just press the melee button, it goes through shields, and it's super good into the Doctor Strange matchup. Alright. Right here, they Luna ult. Just kind of existing here is all you can really do. I would just swing on anybody I can for some ult charge. Kind of just burned your shield bash there for no reason. Now you're just kind of jumping around, which, again, that's kind of what Cap does. You know, he just holds space. You don't always have to be doing something. Playing around the shield here is good. Alright. So it looked like you kind of just got a little flustered there, being 1v6, and that's natural. But let's see what you could have maybe done differently here. So, once you got low, maybe a choice is to run over to this health kit, re-engage on the other side, gives your team time to get back. And now that I'm looking at it, that's definitely the best choice you could have made. Let's say you jump over, you're getting low here, you're just trying to live, you're not pressuring anyone, that's fine. But I would have saved my movement cooldowns for as soon as that happened. As soon as that freeze happened, I would have been gone. I would have jumped over and over here, but instead you jump away and go down. You could have maybe tried to get to this health kit, but I would recommend, instead of doing that, you come around here, run to this health kit, heal up, wait a second, wait for the cart to move up a little bit more, and you re-engage out here. Right? Because your team's almost here. You had the chance to reconvene with your team, and maybe you could have had a chance to fight. But instead, you kind of just died on point, staggering yourself, and now your team is down a tank. While you're up a character, now you're down a character again. But had you been back with your team, you could have been up 2 even, you know? You got ults going. Y'all get another elimination. See, had you reconvened again, y'all probably would have been able to take this fight a lot easier, and now it looks like you're losing because you're down a tank. So just have your escape in mind whenever you engage. Like now you have your shield bash to escape. Good. Okay. Re-engaging there, not the best idea. What I might have done, I'm not saying this was the best play, but maybe here, as soon as I got my ult, I would have popped it just to try and live. I would have just started swinging, right? I wouldn't have ran away here. I would have just started swinging in order to get my ult, popped it to stall the point as long as I can. Especially since y'all did get a pick there. Could have been good had you popped your ult to stall the point, but instead you ran away and died for it. Let's see. Team dies again, Star-Lord runs in and dies, now you have an Iron Man. Again, you're not really using your movement cooldowns to get out of spawn. Which, I mean, you don't have to, but I recommend it. I always use them to get out of spawn. You have high mobility in this game. Oh, I mean, that was unlucky. Looks like you live. Hitting somebody with Iron Fist kick and Captain America's shield bash is one of the worst feelings, especially when you're trying to use them to escape. Alright. Let's see what's going on here. Where's your Thor? Oh, you don't have a Thor anymore. Okay. You have a Scarlet Witch. You shouldn't be back here, basically. Look where the card is, and look where you are. Now, granted, your team is going to be held back by this Black Panther and the Psylocke, but if you're up here with your Star-Lord who's frontlining on his own without a tank, your team could maybe be right there, or maybe you could have been holding here because you backed off way too soon. You gave up this spot where you were super low. You should have just relied on your healers to keep you up here and held this corner. Your Star-Lord could have been right there, and your team could have been further up. Now granted, the cart's still all the way over here, but if this continues like it is right now, that cart is going to get all that free distance because you're peeling for a Black Panther when you have a Wanda, a Cloak and Dagger, an Invisible Woman. They'll be fine. And because of that, your Star-Lord is left alone. And he gets out, it looks like. You pop your ult to help your team. Not the worst ult I've seen. I maybe would have used it a little more aggressively or to keep yourself up. I think your team was fine there. Yes, you did lose one, but again, had you been further up, maybe that Black Panther wouldn't have been able to get so much space out of it. You have the Invisible Woman to hold you here. I would play out of it, let your team play in it, and just take space, because they're not going to be able to play up there. You're doing very well at that. But you're just leaving, you're leaving too early. Let's see. Right here, you're basically full HP. They're falling back completely. They're giving up so much space. Now what you left is your Wanda, you left your Star-Lord, both of them. Star-Lord's probably dead, granted, maybe. Wanda has an escape tool. You need to be their shield, right? And granted, Cap doesn't have a big shield like Doctor Strange does, but you know what he does have? He draws attention, right? He draws bullets. People shoot at the tank. They are inclined to shoot at the tank. So you should have been up here holding the space for your DPS to leave. That's what I like to think of it. You might see a lot of times, especially when I push up with, for example, a Bucky with his ultimate, he's gonna keep going until we get to the spawn room most of the time if it's on a defense map. So I'm gonna tell him like, hey, I'll hold the space, go ahead and start backing up. And I'll stay there because I have the movement to get in and out while he does not. right? So that's where you misplayed here, is you just left your team to die. Star-Lord goes down. Wanda's still trying to frontline on her own. Maybe she makes it out alive. And then you re-engage. Let's see what's going on. You let your shield break. Grab the Mega. Good choice. Healing for the Black Panther. You don't want to do that. Get caught by the Strange Ult. That's unlucky. Okay, they have Luno. Just leave here, for sure. I'm noticing also that you're letting your shield break way too much. You need to learn to balance using the shield and your body as both parts of your shield. You need to use your body to tank damage to let your shield recharge, and use your shield to protect your body, right, when it's full HP, and vice versa. You'll find a balance with it as you play the game. I'm gonna go over it in my Captain America guide, how to, you know, balance that, and how I personally balance it. But you don't want to let your shield break hardly ever. Alright, you get frozen there. That was just a misplay. Unfortunately, right here, you do just kind of have to touch the point. Your team's all dead. They're about to cap. I might have maybe waited a little bit longer because your team is coming out. The more time that you buy, you have 2 support ultimates. Maybe y'all could have made something happen with it. But for right now, it looks like they just get a free cap because they don't have a tank to run out on. And now look, your Rocket's dead. Your Cloak and Dagger goes out with no distractions. She's dead. Right? Yeah, and you have a Wanda and a Star-Lord who aren't going to do very much about that. Just unlucky, you're back. But, of course, you know, what are you going to do 1v6 as Captain America? And you got bursted. I think dying there earlier than you had to kind of messed up. Had you focused on living, not engaging on the backline, and just focused on holding your shield, playing around the cart, jumping around to avoid shots, maybe you could have tried to hold it. Now, granted, you were playing solo tank cap, which gets a lot harder because you have to both create and take space on top of one another, which is hard for cap to do. It's possible, but it's extremely hard. Now it looks like you're going to have a Magneto, which is great. Makes things a lot easier. So let's see where you start. Now I can already hear footsteps over here on the left. Something you should be aware of, but maybe you were away from your computer. Maybe you didn't hear it. It happens. You have a Psylocke over here. Let's see how you engage this. Okay. Already not the worst thing in the world, but I wouldn't go main. I would instead jump up here. Look, they have a Frank. Jump over here, and I would drop on him, start breaking the turret, maybe let him take like 200 HP off of me, and then while he's focused on shooting me in the turret, while I'm hitting it, I'll put up my shield so that he deflects it into me. If you're face checking him, his bullets deflect into him. With the shield, you can break the turret pretty fast. Now, immediately after that, you're going to want to leave right away because they have an infinite ammo Punisher and Bucky. So, that would be the way that I would start this fight out. And then, of course, putting pressure on the Luna. Let's see where you go. You go main. You're sitting behind your Magneto here. You should be helping him take the space rather than playing further back. If anything, you should be in front of him. Now, he is your team's front line, right? But you're the distraction. You are the bullet sponge while he holds and takes the space you created. So you should be in front of him. Okay. Extremely passive gameplay here. You're kind of just existing. Now, passive tank theory is not the worst thing in the world. Engaging on Punisher with the shotgun is risky. He's going to burst your shield down. Good choice on leaving. But now you have no movement cooldown, so you have to sit back. You go in, you get pushed back. You don't engage with your bubble. You should have gone in a little bit there. Kind of just missing your swings. It looks like you're getting nervous. That's what it looks like here. It looks like you're forgetting your fundamentals when you get nervous. Pulled in, I would just get out pretty quick. A lot of times it looks like you're shield bashing into geometry. What I like to do to try and circumvent that is turn around, jump, and then shield bash. And most of the time that helps me out to not just bash into objects and lose all of my momentum, all my speed, all my distance. Okay. I mean, you were missing 100 HP. Not the biggest deal that you took the health kit, but that could have been ult charge for your supports. Okay. Yeah. Alright. Should have left a lot sooner there, I think. As soon as I got pulled here, what I would have done, as soon as I got pulled, is I would have just ran, jumped, slammed, shield bashed, right? Or I would have ran here to both my supports. I would have either jumped and shield bashed right here in front of him, or I would have jumped, slammed, shield bashed right into the spawn room to either change characters if I'm struggling, or get some heals up and run back out. Let's see where you go with this. After you die, okay, you die there, you're back. Now you're insistent on forcing cap here, which isn't the worst thing in the world. They have a team that's pretty diveable. They have a Punisher, a Bucky, and a Luna. Those are all characters. They're solo tanking. Y'all should be able to roll over these guys. Their Luna is still your priority here. You can dive Punisher. If you can force him to bait out of the shotgun, you just leave with that. That's time that he's not shooting the front line with his rifle. If you can get Bucky's cooldowns out, that's time that Magneto's not getting pulled in. That's time that any of your other teammates aren't getting pulled in. Just drawing their attention in general is going to help your team push forward. Let's see. Alright, I like this push. Going high ground. Now, let's see what you could have done here. Let's say you just decide to go Punisher, right? You go Punisher here. He's got his rifle out, it looks like. Now you've got the attention of the Psylocke, the Luna Snow, and the Rocket, because they're all going to want to care for their Punisher, right? Psylocke's already shooting you. She's going to keep shooting at you if you engage here, right? Also, you should be on the lookout for the respawn beacons, just because that is kind of your job as Captain America. But anyways, so you dive this Punisher, you get 1, 2, 3, 4 people looking at you. Now, there's 2 people in the front line that are distracted, right? Or, I'm sorry, not distracted, but they're alone because their backline is distracted. Okay, so now you've turned it into a 5v2 instead of a 6v6, because you've got these people's attention for even 5 seconds. Could be enough to burst these guys down because nobody else is looking at them. So let's see how you play this. You run in and immediately back off, run into their tank. You didn't create any pressure there. You just kind of showed that you were scared of them, which, you know, granted you can get blown up, it happens. But showing that you were scared of them shows that you're not a threat. They're not going to put much time into you. Alright, they're just popping ults. Let them pop ults. Good kill. Good kill. Killed even though the Luna ult was up. That was huge. Just hold the space here. It's a 1v3. Cap can very easily live in a 1v3 situation if you play your shield right. Instead, you backed off. You play a very passive Cap, and it might just be because I have a very aggressive playstyle, but I think Cap in general is an aggressive character. Good kill. Melee's here because the shield's up. Can't melee through the bubbles though. Another good kill. Right? Another good kill. Extremely good plays. Capitalizing on low HP targets. Looks like you're picking the right targets.
You're halfway there. Keep going.
That aggressiveness that you showed there, capitalizing on already low HP targets, is what you should be doing most of the time. Even if they're not low HP, you can still pressure them. I'm in Celestial lobbies and I still pressure people like that all the time on Captain America. Because I know when to leave, when to get out. Nice. I like this ult. Very aggressive ult. Very aggressive ult, and I love it, right? That's exactly how you should be playing this character. Now, your animation canceling a little too quick. Because of that, you're losing some of the hitboxes. Again, go watch my guide for timing. But that was extremely good. I love that ultimate. You got to play up, you got pressure, and you made space for your team. Nice. Okay, that was a really good push, and I gotta admit, you kind of carried that push for your team. Very good plays. That's what I like to see. What you just did there with the extremely aggressive, in-your-face playstyle, I want you to look at me instead of my team, that's what you should be doing like 90% of the time. Especially if you have a second tank to hold the space and keep the space for you while you create it. I like the setup into high ground here. One thing I can recommend is for added damage, maybe throw your shield before you slam. You already know to throw the shield at the ground, it looks like. Nice! I mean, you're playing so well now. Looks like maybe you turned on the Cap skills. I like what I'm seeing here. So far, it looks like you were right. You played a lot better in the second round. Peeling back here is a good choice, but you're chasing this. You shouldn't chase this. As soon as you got her out, you should have left, gone back to the front line. Okay. That Magneto was extremely low. Maybe you could have killed him, probably not. But you could have tried to put some attention into him. At least forced his supports to look at him a little more instead of helping the front line. Okay. Forcing the Rocket out of position here. Not the worst idea in the world. You're not going to kill him most of the time. I'd be surprised if you did. But I would have just focused on getting him out of position and then leaving. Alright. I'm not a KDA protector. I get dying on the point. Everybody else is dead, so it makes sense to just die, but you could have left a lot sooner there. Your escape route here would have just been to run, jump, slam, shield bash out, and just keep on running like Forrest Gump. Don't turn around, alright? That would have been the play there. Your Magneto's gonna go down here. He doesn't stagger, he just lets himself die. At the end of the day, you didn't stagger, so your death isn't the worst in the world. I'd rather you die than run away and stagger and die later, alright? So, not the worst thing. Don't worry about it. Good pressure on the magic. She was frontlining. Great choice to pursue her. Again, you're letting your shield take way too much damage. You have supports behind you. They can heal you. It's free ult charge for them. Also ult charge for the enemy team, but it's more for your supports. Again, obviously you can't hear me, but I recommend throwing your shield before you slam, as you can cancel the shield animation with your slam and just get added damage. Nice, nice, good ricochet. Remember to melee in that matchup. Obviously he's in the sky, you're not going to be hitting him, but melee just always against Doctor Strange in case he shield dances with you. Right here I'd be taking space, especially since I have my ultimate. You're kind of letting your Magneto both create and take space while you play more like you play kind of like a main tank, which isn't the worst thing in the world, especially when you're solo tanking this cap. But when you have a double tank, you should absolutely be playing more like a Venom, where you just land on the enemy team, distract, and leave whenever you absolutely have to. Or if you want, use your ult to extend, right? Okay. Y'all have had a really good push this whole time. Looks like your team's definitely bringing it together. You falling back here is not a good idea. You should be holding that space. You don't need to be on the card as Captain America. You're giving up way too much space. Nice. Okay. You can play in this. You have your ult. I popped it maybe a little too early. I would have waited until I was like maybe half health to pop it. Obviously you don't want to get bursted through it. But, okay. Again with the animation cancels, just canceling a little too fast. But no, you're just giving up too much space. You didn't really throw your shield at anything there. I feel like maybe you're struggling to pick a target. Again, you should go into every fight having a target in mind. On their team, you can go on Bucky or you can go on Luna, right? Those are the only two characters you're really going to be able to pressure consistently, and you can farm their tanks for ult charge. I don't think you meant to slam there. I think the Spider-Man hit you up and it made you slam. Peeling here is understandable. Unfortunately, there's not much you can do personally for your team, especially against a Bucky ult, other than like maybe try and tank a hit and live. If you tank a hit and he keeps shooting at you and you live through it, I mean, you don't give him a reset. And that's probably one of the better things you can do against Bucky ult. For Spider-Man, there's not much you can do. You just kind of want to almost ignore him. Looks like, I mean, you're sitting waiting for your team, smart. But again, you're just playing by your Magneto, which isn't what you should be doing. You're diving on the front line on their tanks. Not the best idea. You want to make their tanks turn around. You don't want them to just stay looking at you and your team. Okay. Oh, you got respawn, but let's go ahead and take a look at that death. So you're holding space here. You're doing fine, but you give it up really fast. Now, granted, they have a rocket ultimate active that's going to burst you down. But what I would have played is, instead of turning around and fighting this Doctor Strange, I think your team has this. You turn your back to the enemy. They have a Bucky with infinite ammo and a rocket ult about to come up, right? I believe. So you turning your back to them, I would have instead sat right here, waited for this Bucky to come up, and then started shielding his shots so that he couldn't help with the Strange. The Luna couldn't shoot through to heal the Doctor Strange, right? You want to sit here and body block those shots so that no assistance is coming to that Doctor Strange, and y'all could for sure kill him. Let's see if you do. No, he gets out. And you peeling back there, not being behind cover, gave them time to just burst you down with infinite ammo and a rocket damage boost. Now you get respawned. Let's see how you play after this. Let's go view the battlefield real quick, and I'll tell you what maybe you should be going on here. Now your tank went down. Your team should be falling back. They got a Spider-Man on them. I would look for this Luna. Absolutely. I'd be pressuring this Luna. Your Magneto was way too far up. I feel like y'all kind of played like y'all swapped roles. Your Magneto is frontlining way too much. He should be maybe right here, while you're about right here, right? You should be playing the cart. Now, it's hard into the rocket ult, of course, but they don't have enough to, like, seriously scare you, right? The Magneto and the Bucky are your biggest threats, especially during the rocket ult. But if you can just play around this corner, or pressure the Luna, or jump over the card and just avoid them, you'll be fine. So, let's see where you go. Immediately onto the tank again. Not what you want to be doing. See, you attack them, but you fall back. Well, you're low HP. You should fall back. But normally, let's just say you're full HP here. You want a hard engage on these guys to take the attention away from their team. Maybe get better at walking backwards. I know that sounds silly. I know it sounds silly, but I notice a lot of times where you turn around with your shield, right? And normally you want to do that if you want to sprint, right? And that's fine. But you sprint for a second and then you immediately turn around, where you could have just walked back, had your shield up, and continued walking. They got another Bucky ult. Right here, you living is crucial. So let's see how you play this. If you can stop them from getting a reset, that's huge. Nice. Really good. Just living there is so valuable. Unfortunately, you get bursted down anyways, because you ate the pool. Be conscious of that pool. It's an 8-second cooldown. You going down there. I mean, y'all probably wouldn't have won this anyways, but you going down there definitely confirmed that y'all weren't going to be winning it. Getting pulled there was lethal. It was game winning by their Bucky. So, watching that game, the biggest tips that I can give you is that you play way too passive. You don't capitalize enough when there are opportunities on the backline. You don't have a target set in mind. You should always be pressing tab, looking at their team, thinking about what ultimates they have. Maybe you can force out an ultimate. Maybe you can get cooldowns out. Like for that game, the person I would have prioritized the most is the Luna Snow. Maybe you get the freeze out, right? Maybe you get the ultimate out, right? Maybe you get her shift out where she self heals. Maybe you get her, I don't know, anything, right? Or just force her to look at you for a little longer, and she's like, hey guys, I got a Captain America on me. Now all of a sudden Bucky's looking at you too. Okay, well now the Punisher's looking at you. Now 3 people are looking at you. There's a Doctor Strange and a Magneto frontlining with the other support. Now your team gets to fight a 5v3. As long as you can keep those people occupied for even 5 seconds, that's enough time to kill a tank. 5 seconds is a long time to go without heals in a game like this. So just holding that distraction, holding those people's attention for long enough because you're so aggressive, because you're always in, because they always have to worry about the Captain America coming onto their backline. Making them turn around for you makes them give up space, makes them give up resources, and takes those resources that they're giving up. Now they're no longer going into their front line, so their front line is going to fall a lot faster than yours. So, it's a couple things to be thinking about. Your animation cancels, a little too fast. Again, maybe go watch my video and work on the timing of it. You're doing it so fast that a lot of times you're canceling the hitbox before it comes out, and that's normal. It's what it looks like for most people whenever they're first trying to learn it, so don't worry about it. Clearly you have a Lord Captain America. You've spent a lot of time on this character. I wouldn't expect you to have learned it right away. It happens. But you told me you come from fighting games. It should be a relatively simple input for you to master. Just give it a little more time, take it to the practice room, and just try not to panic. I noticed a lot of times where you say you panic, right? You say you panic, you said it in the message. So I'm inferring that a lot of times where you're just kind of running around, you're messing up your animation cancels, you're kind of fumbling around, bumbling around. I'm guessing you're nervous. This game is nerve-wracking. There's a lot going on at once, but there's so much going on at once, at least you know, you hear, you have audio cues, you know what's around you, it's in third person, it's not first person, so you won't get caught by surprise by something behind you. Just take the time, lock in, pay attention. If you have music playing, maybe turn it off. This game's relatively simple when you get down to the, core of it. So just try not to panic. I know that's easier said than done, but the more time you spend playing this game, the more used to it you'll get. Remember that ranked it's just a game. There's no need to be panicking. I get tense, I lock in, I shut up, I stop talking to chat sometimes. But letting it affect your gameplay is when it becomes a problem. So, maybe just have a nice tea before you play. If you're not in the headspace to be playing that night and you know you're gonna get upset, or you know you're gonna start getting nervous when you play, just don't play. Go play some casual games. It's alright. It happens. And even if you play and you get nervous, it happens. It happens to all of us. It happens to me. It happens to the top players. Right? Just try not to take it so serious. Play the game. Work on your being aggro. You were just way too passive, like I said. Work on that. Work on your animation cancels. Work on target priority. Work on choosing a target before you engage. Work on thinking about being a distraction. And that's about it. And just work on learning how to chill out when you play. As for saying you think you can get to, I think you said GM1 or Celestial 3. I think right now, probably not, just truth to be told. It's not anything against your skill. I think you've got a good understanding of the character. You're in GM3. I mean, you made it up here. That's good, right? It's very impressive. But as for Celestial gameplay, if I saw that in Celestial, I wouldn't believe they got there legit. But like you said, with some improvements to your gameplay, with some improvements to your decision making, you can absolutely make it there. If you improve those things. But right now, definitely not. And that's okay. That's okay. So, take it to the lab, work on it a little more, be thinking a little more consciously. Don't autopilot when you play the game. be thinking every time you engage, who you're engaging on, what cooldowns you can bait out from their team, what ultimates you can get out from their team, and that's your main thing, just being a distraction. And if you can get that down, you'll absolutely climb the ranks. So, I hope you guys were able to learn from this. If you're a Captain America main, stick around. I got a Captain America guide coming out soon. I hope that Mr. Y2K, you were able to learn something from watching this VOD review. I hope that everybody enjoyed this and that you all have a fantastic day. And I'll see you guys in the next one. YouTube thinks that you might like these videos, so go ahead and check them out. Let me know if you do like them. And just a reminder, I do stream on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, so I do it right here on YouTube. And if you're here already, you might as well come check me out. Appreciate it if you do. I hope everybody has a great night, and I'll see you guys next time.